The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was quiet. Too quiet. Ambassador Daniel Carter stood at the center podium and looked at the faces around him. 12 species. 12 powerful civilizations. And all of them were looking at him like he was nothing more than dirt on their shoes. Daniel had been doing this job for 15 years. He had learned to hide his feelings behind a calm face. But today was different. Today, something inside him was about to break. High Counselor Veteran of the Tyranny Hegemony raised one of his 4 crystal arms. His body glowed with pale blue light, which meant he was feeling superior. Daniel had learned to read these aliens over the years. He knew what that glow meant. "The matter is simple," Veteran said. His voice was smooth like glass. "Humanity will give the Kepler corridor to the Tyranny. Your species has held those systems for only 200 years. We have been patient. Now our patience is over." Daniel gripped the podium. The Kepler corridor was home to 4 million humans, families, children, people who had built their lives on those worlds. Patient. Daniel kept his voice steady. "You call 3 attacks on our border patient? You call the burning of New Haven Colony patient? 17,000 people died there, Counselor. 17,000. Veteran's glow flickered for just a moment. Those were mistakes. Poor communication between our forces. Communication. Daniel almost laughed. Your ships fired on civilian targets for 6 hours. That is not a communication problem. The moderator, a snake-like being named Kirith, raised a thin hand. The Council has reviewed the evidence. We find the incidents regrettable but not criminal. The Kepler corridor will be given to the Tyranny. Humanity has 90 days to remove all people from those systems. Around the chamber, other species nodded or made sounds of agreement. The Venkai clicked their sharp jaws. The Helix Collective hummed together like a choir. Nobody spoke against the ruling. Nobody cared. Daniel looked at his aide, Lieutenant Commander Grace Sullivan. She was young, only 30 years old, but her eyes were hard. She had been on New Haven when the attack happened. She had watched her brother burn. Grace handed him a small tablet without a word. Her hand was shaking slightly. Not from fear. From anger? Daniel said to the Council. I must speak with Earth. Kirith waved a lazy hand. You have 1 hour. In the private human room behind the main chamber, Daniel connected to Earth. Admiral Patricia Lane appeared on the screen. She was an old soldier with silver hair and a face like carved stone. I saw everything, Patricia said. The President is with me. The generals, too. We knew this would happen. Then you know what I have to ask. Patricia nodded slowly. Protocol Omega, yes. The President has approved it. Grace stepped forward. Admiral, I was there when New Haven burned. Council ships were watching. They did nothing. They called it a local problem. They said it was not their concern. I know, Commander. Patricia's voice was soft. That is exactly why we prepared for this day. Daniel took a deep breath. For 47 years, humanity had been part of this council. They had joined with hope in their hearts. They believed in working together and building something good. They had given technology and medicine. They had sent soldiers to die in council wars. They had done everything right, and this was their reward. Betrayal, abandonment, their people marked for removal like weeds in a garden. I understand, Daniel said. Carter out. When he walked back into the main chamber, nobody looked worried. The other species barely glanced at him. They expected him to complain a little, then accept the ruling like a good servant. They had no idea what was coming. The Council recognizes Ambassador Carter, Kirith announced. Does humanity accept the ruling? Daniel stood straight. He looked around the room slowly, meeting the eyes of every delegate. No. The single word hung in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. Kirith blinked his many eyes. Excuse me? I said no. Humanity does not accept the ruling. Veteran's crystal body flashed red with anger. You cannot refuse. Council rulings are law. They are law for council members, Daniel replied. As of this moment, by the vote of all human governments, humanity withdraws from the Galactic Council. For 3 seconds, there was complete silence. Then chaos erupted. Vethrin stood up so fast his chair fell over. You cannot leave. No species has ever left. No species has ever been treated like we have been treated. Daniel's voice cut through the noise like a blade. No species has ever watched its people die while the council did nothing. No species has given so much and received so little. He placed a small chip on the podium. This contains our formal withdrawal. It takes effect now. All human ships will leave council operations within 30 days. All technology we shared with you is no longer yours to use. And the Kepler corridor stays human forever. Okay. The Venkai delegate hissed at him. You are making a terrible mistake. Humans are young and weak. You need us to survive. Daniel smiled. It was not a friendly smile. We will see about that. He turned and walked toward the door. Grace followed him. Behind them, the chamber exploded into shouting and arguing. For the first time in centuries, something had happened that the council did not expect. They will not let us go quietly, Grace said as they walked. No, they will not. But we are ready. Her communicator made a sound. Admiral Patricia Lane's voice came through. Daniel, the Tyranni, are sending their border fleet toward Kepler. They think they can take what they want before we can respond. How long until our ships arrive? They are already there. Admiral Nathan Cole has been waiting for this moment for a very long time. He sends a message. He says to tell the council that if they want Kepler, they can come and try to take it. Daniel felt something he had not felt in years. Hope, pride, humanity had been pushed down for so long. They had accepted insults and unfair treatment because they believed in the system. They had trusted the council to do the right thing. That trust was dead now, burned to ash along with New Haven. But from those ashes, something new was rising. Something the galaxy had never seen before, as Daniel and Grace boarded their ship to leave the council station. They looked back at the great structure one last time. For 47 years, it had been a symbol of cooperation and peace. Now it was just a building full of aliens who had made a very big mistake. They had forgotten something important about humans. Humans were patient. Humans were smart. And when humans were pushed too far, they did not break. They pushed back. The ship's engines powered up, and they flew away from the council station. Ahead of them was uncertainty, danger, and possibly war. Behind them was everything humanity had believed in for nearly half a century. Daniel did not look back again. The day humanity left. The Galaxy Council was the day everything changed. The other species did not know it yet. They thought humans would come crawling back. Begging for forgiveness, they were wrong. The universe was about to learn what humanity was really capable of, and it would be a lesson none of them would ever forget. 3 months passed after humanity left the council. At first, the other species celebrated. Good riddance, they said. The humans were always complaining anyway, always asking for fair treatment, always expecting to be treated like equals. Now they were gone, and things could go back to normal. But things did not go back to normal. It started with small problems. A research station on the edge of Tyranni space had trouble with its power systems. The engineers who usually fixed such things were human. They were gone now. The Tyranni tried to fix it themselves, but the systems were complicated. Humans had designed them. The station went dark after 2 weeks. 300 Tyranni scientists were evacuated just before the life support failed completely. On the Venkai homeworld, hospitals began running out of certain medicines. The formulas were human creations, shared freely during the years of cooperation. Now the sharing had stopped. Venkai doctors worked day and night to recreate the medicines. But the chemistry was beyond their understanding. Thousands of sick Venkai died waiting for cures that would never come. The Universal Translator Network, the system that let all species talk to each other, started having problems. Words came out wrong. Important meetings turned into confusion as diplomats misunderstood each other. Fights broke out over simple mistakes in translation. Human linguists had built and maintained that network. Without them, it began to fall apart. High Counselor Vethrin sat in his private chamber, staring at reports that made his crystal body dim with worry. The border fleet he had sent to take the Kepler corridor had come back without firing a single shot. Explain, he demanded. His military advisor stood before him, trembling slightly. We reached the boundary of human space. Their ships were waiting. Hundreds of them. They sent us a message. What message? Cross this line, and we will destroy you. We are no longer held back by council rules. Bethren's light flickered. So we tested them. Surely one cruiser could have pushed through. The advisor's trembling grew worse. We did test them, High Counselor. We sent one ship across the line, and it was destroyed in 3 seconds. We detected weapons we have never seen before. Our shields did nothing. Our armor did nothing. The ship simply stopped existing. Bethren stood up slowly. 3 seconds. Yes, High Counselor. Our analysis suggests that humanity has been hiding their true capabilities. We believe they have been. Operating at perhaps 30% of their actual technological level while they were council members.
Why would they do that?
We believe they wanted to appear harmless, non-threatening. They wanted us to underestimate them. Bethren walked to his window and looked out at the city below. Millions of his people, going about their lives, not knowing how much danger they might be in. What else have they been hiding? He asked quietly. Nobody had an answer. Across the galaxy, similar conversations were happening. The Helix Collective discovered that their farming systems, designed by human scientists, were failing without regular care. Crops were dying. Food supplies were dropping. The Scythians found that their banking computers, built on human programs, were locked. They could not access their own money. Without codes that only humans knew, every species began to realize the same terrible truth. For 47 years, humans had been everywhere. They had helped with everything. They had fixed problems, built systems, made themselves useful in 1,000 different ways. Everyone had thought the humans were just trying to earn approval, trying to fit in, trying to prove they deserved to be part of the council. Now they understood. The humans had not been earning approval. They had been building leverage. Every system they touched, every problem they solved, made them more important, more necessary, and nobody had noticed until they were gone. Kareth called an emergency meeting of the council. The chamber, that had once been full of confident voices, was now quiet with fear. We let them into everything, the Helix Collective representative said. We thought they were eager servants. We thought they were desperate for our acceptance. We were fools, the Venkai delegate admitted. We used them and laughed at them. We took their work and gave them nothing but insults, and they smiled and helped us more. They were waiting, Kareth said. For 47 years, they were waiting for this moment. On Earth, President Maria Delgado spoke to the people of humanity. Behind her, the blue and green ball of their homeworld filled the screen. For almost 50 years, we tried to be good partners, she said. We followed every rule. We gave more than we received. We believed that if we worked hard enough, we would earn respect. Her voice grew harder. We were wrong. The council never saw us as equals. They saw us as tools, useful when needed, forgotten when not. When they decided our colonies were in their way, they voted to erase them. Not because we did anything wrong, just because they could. She leaned forward. But here's what they never understood. Humanity is not a tool. We are a species that has survived ice ages and wars. We have lived through plagues and disasters. We have climbed from caves to the stars through nothing but hard work and clever thinking. From this day forward, humanity stands alone. We will defend our territory. We will protect our people. We will ask nothing from the galaxy, and we will give nothing back. The council made their choice when they let New Haven burn. Now they will live with that choice. The speech was sent across all of space. Every species heard it. Nobody laughed anymore in the Kepler corridor. Admiral Nathan Cole stood on the bridge of his great ship, the carrier Defiance. His second-in-command, Commander Samantha Price, brought him a tablet with new information. The Tyranni have pulled back, she reported. They have built defensive walls at the border. They are not trying to enter our space anymore. They are afraid, Nathan said. Good. Fear keeps people careful. Sir, there is something else. Samantha hesitated. Our long-range sensors have detected something strange. Unknown ships moving toward Council space. They are not human. They are not any species we know. Nathan looked at the data. The ships were huge, bigger than anything in any known fleet, and they were moving fast. How long until they reached the Council? He asked. About 8 months. Have we told the Council about this? No orders from Earth to share this information. We are just watching for now. Nathan stared at the screen for a long time. Something terrible was coming. Something that would threaten every living being in the galaxy. Part of him felt satisfaction. After New Haven, after all the years of insults and betrayal, the Council deserved whatever was coming. But another part of him, the part that still remembered why humanity had joined the Council in the first place, felt sad because Nathan Cole was a soldier, but he was also human. And humans, even when they were angry, did not enjoy watching others suffer. Keep watching, he said finally. Tell me everything that happens. The universe was changing. The old order was breaking apart. And in the darkness between the stars, something hungry was coming. Nobody knew it yet. But the greatest test of all species was about to begin. And when it did, everything would change forever. The Vexari came without warning. They appeared from the edge of the galaxy, from a region of space that the Council had always believed was empty. Their ships looked wrong. Not built from metal and circuits like normal vessels, these ships looked grown, like living things. Organic shapes covered with weapons that glowed with hungry light. The first world they attacked was Vethka Prime, Tyranny colony with 60 million people. The Vexari did not invade it. They consumed it. Their ships came down like a swarm of insects. They covered the planet and stripped away everything that was alive. Plants, animals, people, everything biological was taken. When they left after 3 days, nothing remained but bare rock and empty buildings. 60 million Tyranny, gone in 72 hours? The Council had never faced anything like this before. For the first time in centuries, old enemies put aside their differences and fought together. Tyranny ships flew beside Venkai vessels. The Helix Collective sent their swarm fighters. Even the Dreth, who rarely left their home systems, joined the defense. They gathered the largest fleet in galactic history. 10,000 ships from a dozen species. Surely, they thought, this would be enough. It was not enough. The battle happened in a system called Vorith. The Council fleet outnumbered the Vexari 10-1. The admirals were confident. They had never lost a fight when they had such numbers on their side. The first. Council ships opened fire with their strongest weapons. Energy beams that could cut through mountains. Missiles that could destroy moons. Everything they had, the Vexari ships, barely noticed. The organic vessels absorbed the attacks like a sponge absorbing water. Where damage was done, the ships healed themselves in seconds. Holes closed. Burns faded. It was like fighting the ocean. Then the Vexari fired back. Their weapons were unlike anything the Council had ever seen. Ships did not explode when hit. They simply stopped existing. One moment a vessel was there, the next moment it was gone. Not destroyed, erased. The battle lasted for hours. When it was over, 7,000 Council ships were gone. The Vexari had lost nothing. On the bridge of the Defiance, Admiral Nathan Cole watched through long-range sensors. His crew was silent. Nobody spoke. Nobody could find words for what they were seeing. Commander Samantha Price stood beside him, her face pale. The Council flagship is sending a message. On all frequencies, including ours. Let me hear it. High Counselor Vethran's voice filled the bridge. Nathan had never heard a Tyranny sound so broken, so desperate. To any human ships receiving this, we know we have wronged you. We acknowledge our mistakes. Please, we beg you, help us. The Vexari threaten all life in the galaxy. In the name of everything good, help us. The bridge crew looked at Nathan. Everyone waited. Nathan thought about New Haven. He thought about his nephew, who had been a student there. A young man with dreams of becoming a doctor. He had burned, along with 17,000 others, while Council ships watched, did nothing. He thought about 47 years of insults. 47 years of being told humanity was small and weak and unimportant. 47 years of giving everything and receiving nothing. Part of him wanted to turn off the message and walk away. Let them burn the way New Haven burned. Let them feel what humanity felt. But Nathan Cole was not that kind of man. "Get me Earth Command," he said. Admiral Patricia Lane appeared on the screen within seconds. She looked like she had aged 10 years in the past few months. The weight of what was happening was crushing everyone. "We heard the transmission," Patricia said. "The president is meeting with all leaders now. What do we do?" Patricia was quiet for a moment. "If we send our fleet to help, we might slow the Vexari down, but we will not stop them. We will just add our deaths to theirs. And if we do nothing, then the council falls. The Vexari eat them all. And then they come for us anyway, stronger than before because they will have consumed billions of beings." Nathan closed his eyes. There was no good choice. Only bad ones and worse ones. "There might be another option," Patricia said slowly. "Something our scientists have been building since we left the council. Something we hoped we would never need. Tell me." What Patricia described made Nathan's blood run cold. It was a weapon. A terrible weapon. Something that went against everything humanity believed in. But it might be the only chance anyone had. "That is insane," Nathan whispered. "It might be our only hope. Not just for humanity. For everyone, even the species that wanted us dead." Patricia's face softened slightly. "Daniel Carter told me something once. He said that being better than our enemies is not about what they deserve. It is about who we choose to be." Nathan stood still for a long time. The bridge was silent. Empty around him. Everyone waited for his decision. He thought about his nephew, about the fire and the screaming and the council ships that just watched. Then he thought about Fethka Prime. 60 million beings. Not soldiers or politicians, families, children, people, whose only crime was being in the wrong place when something hungry arrived. If humanity walked away now, they would be no different from the council that abandoned New Haven. "Send a message to the council flagship," Nathan said finally. "Tell them help is coming, and tell them to prepare. They have never seen anything like what we are about to show them." The crew snapped into action. The great ship hummed with energy as it prepared for what was coming. In the distance, through the darkness of space, the Vexari swarm continued its march toward the heart of the galaxy. They had consumed 8 worlds now. Billions of lives erased like they had never existed. They did not know that something was coming for them, something they had never faced before. Humanity was coming, and humanity was angry. The storm that had been building for 47 years was about to break, and when it did, the universe would never be the same again. The remains of the Galactic Council fleet limped toward the sanctuary system. It was their last hope. The last place they could make a stand before the Vexaray reached the core worlds where billions of beings lived. Behind them, the swarm followed, patient, hungry, unstoppable. High Counselor Vethrin stood on what was left of his flagship. The once great vessel was broken and burned. Around him stood survivors from a dozen species. Tirani, Venkai, Helix, Scythian, and others. They had been enemies for centuries. Now they were just scared beings waiting to die. Any response from the humans? Vethrin asked his communications officer. "Nothing, High Counselor. We have sent 12 messages." No reply. The Venkai delegate, a scarred old warrior named Threx, made a sound of bitter laughter. "Why would they come? We gave them every reason to let us die. I would not save us if I were them." Vethrin said nothing. In his heart, he knew Threx was right. If the situation was reversed, would the Council have helped humanity? The honest answer filled him with shame. Then the alarm started screaming. "Contact!" the tactical officer shouted. Ships coming out of fast space. Many ships. Very large. For one terrible second, Vethrin thought the Vexari had somehow gotten ahead of them, that they were surrounded, that this was the end. Then the visual screens lit up, and he saw something that stopped his breath. Human ships. but not like any human ships he had ever seen. They were enormous. Each one was bigger than the largest council vessel. Sleek and sharp like blades, they glowed with energy that made the sensors go crazy. Hundreds of them poured out of nowhere, forming perfect lines like soldiers on parade, and leading them was something that made Vethran's crystal body dim with awe. It was a ship the size of a small moon, covered with weapons, burning with power that the sensors could not even measure. It blocked out the stars behind it like a metal planet. "This is Admiral Nathan Cole of the United Earth Fleet," a voice announced on all channels. "Vexari forces, you are ordered to leave this area immediately. This is your only warning." The Vexari did not hesitate. Their organic ships turned toward the human fleet and charged. They had never been stopped before. They expected nothing different now. Admiral Cole Vethran transmitted desperately. "The Vexari cannot be defeated with normal weapons. Their ships heal themselves." We know," Nathan Cole replied calmly. "We have been studying them since they first appeared. Hi, Counselor. I suggest you move your ships far away. This is about to become very dangerous." The Council fleet pulled back. They had no choice. Their ships were broken, their weapons empty. All they could do was watch. The human fleet opened fire. It was not like any weapon anyone had ever seen. The human ships released waves of something that looked like light, but wrong somehow. It shimmered and twisted in ways that hurt to look at. Where this strange light touched the Vexari ships, something incredible happened. The organic vessels did not explode. They did not burn. They simply fell apart. Their healing ability failed completely. Their cells broke down. Ships that had laughed at the combined firepower of 12 species turned into clouds of dead matter. "What is that?" Vethran breathed. A human officer answered, "Quantum disruption technology. We thought of it decades ago, but never built it. The Council's rules did not allow weapons research beyond certain limits, but you did it anyway. You did the thinking. When we left the Council, we had good reason to finish the work. The battle, if it could be called that, lasted only a few hours. The Vexari swarm that had consumed worlds and killed billions was reduced to floating garbage. Not one human ship was even scratched. Silence fell over the Council fleet. Representatives of species who had spent centuries treating humans like dirt watched in shock. They could not understand what they had just seen. "He could have destroyed us at any time," the Helix Collective representative said, its voice shaking. "All those years we mocked them. All those times we voted against them. They could have swept us away like leaves in wind, but they did not," Kyrith said slowly. "Even after we betrayed them. Even after New Haven they came. They saved us." Admiral Cole's face appeared on every screen. His expression was hard to read. "The Vexari threat is ended," he said. "Our ships will take you to safe space. After that, we will return to our own territory." Vethran stepped forward. His crystal body was dim with emotion he could not hide. "Admiral, I do not understand. After everything we did to your people, why did you help us?" Nathan Cole was silent for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was heavy. "Because we are better than you, High Counselor. Not stronger. Not smarter. Not more advanced. Better. We believe in things your council forgot long ago. Honor. Mercy. The simple idea that when someone is suffering, you help them, even if they do not deserve it." He paused. "We judged your species by how you treated us. We found you lacking. But we do not leave people to be eaten by monsters just because those people were cruel to us. That is not who we are." His expression hardened slightly. "Consider this a gift. The last thing humanity will ever give the Council. Use it wisely." The transmission ended. In the silence that followed, Vethran looked around at the other delegates. For centuries, the Council had believed they were superior. They had looked down on younger species like humans. They had believed their age and experience made them wise. Now they understood the truth. Wisdom was not about age. It was not about technology or power. It was about choosing to do the right thing. Even when the wrong thing was easier, the humans had every reason to watch the Council burn. Every reason to turn away and let the Vexari finish what they started. nobody would have blamed them. Instead, they came to save beings who had treated them like servants for nearly 50 years. Vethran's crystal form began to glow, but not with pride this time. With shame, deep, burning shame. "We were fools," he said quietly. "We were such fools." Nobody disagreed. The human fleet turned and began to move away, their mission complete. They asked for no thanks. They expected no reward. They simply did what was right and left. Behind them, the broken remains of the council watched them go. And every being who witnessed that moment understood that something fundamental had changed. The humans had proven something important. True strength was not about weapons or technology. True strength was about character, about doing the hard thing, the right thing. Even when no one would blame you for walking away, the universe would remember this day forever. The day humanity showed everyone what it really meant to be strong. 5 years had passed since the Battle of Sanctuary. 5 years since humanity saved the galaxy and then simply walked away. 5 years of change that nobody could have imagined. The Galactic Council still existed, but it was not the same council. The old ways were dead, burned away by the shame of what had happened. Species that had once treated others like dirt now sat as equals at the same table. The arrogance was gone, replaced by something humbler. New laws were written. No species could be exploited. No colony could be sacrificed for political games. The strong would protect the weak, or face consequences. They called it the Coal Doctrine. It's named after the human admiral who had shown them what true strength looked like. But humanity remained apart. Their ships patrolled their own space. Their people lived their own lives. They asked nothing from the council, and they gave nothing in return. The wall between them was invisible but solid. Many in the council wanted to reach out, to apologize, to beg humanity to return. But what could they say? What words could fix 47 years of cruelty? Then, on a day like any other, a human ship appeared at the council station. A single vessel, carrying a single passenger, Ambassador Daniel Carter, walked through the halls of the council station for the first time in 5 years. He was older now. His hair had gone gray, but his eyes were the same, calm, watchful, missing nothing. The great chamber was full when he arrived. Representatives from every species watched as he walked to the center podium, the same podium where he had announced humanity's departure all those years ago. "I speak for the United Earth government," Daniel said. His voice echoed through the silent room. "We have received your request for renewed relations. The President asked me to deliver our answer in person." High Counselor Vethran leaned forward. He was still in power, but he was changed. The old arrogance had left his crystal body. Something softer had taken its place. "What is humanity's answer?" he asked. Daniel looked around the chamber slowly. So many faces he remembered. So many memories, most of them painful. "We remember everything," he said. "The years of service. The years of disrespect. The colonies you abandoned. The lives you called worthless. We remember the smiles and the mockery. The way you took our help and gave us insults in return." He paused, letting the words settle. "But we also remember who we want to be. Humanity does not define itself by old wounds. We define ourselves by our hopes for the future. We want to be a species that can forgive, even when forgiveness is not deserved." A murmur ran through the chamber. Hope and fear mixed together. "The United Earth government accepts your request," Daniel continued. "We will return as full members. Equal standing. Equal voice. Our past is recognized. Our future begins today." The chamber erupted in sounds of relief and joy. Different species made different noises, but the meaning was the same. After 5 years of silence, the door was opening again. Vethran rose from his seat. His crystal body glowed bright with emotion. "Ambassador Carter, on behalf of all council species, I offer our deepest apology. We were wrong. We were arrogant and blind. We do not deserve your forgiveness, but we are grateful for it." Daniel nodded slowly. "Words are easy, High Counselor. Actions are harder. We will be watching to see if this new council lives up to its promises. You understand?" and we will not fail again. Later, as Daniel walked through the corridors of the station, he was not alone. Grace Sullivan walked beside him. She was Ambassador Sullivan now, a diplomat in her own right. Her hard edges had softened over the years, but her strength remained. "Do you think we are doing the right thing?" she asked. Daniel considered the question. "I do not know. They hurt us badly. They might hurt us again. But staying angry, staying apart, that is not growth. That is just a different kind of cage. And if they betray us again?" Daniel smiled slightly. "Then we will handle it. But this time, everyone knows what we can do. This time, we come as equals. Maybe that changes things. Maybe it does not." He stopped at a window and looked out at the stars. Ships from many species moved through space. Building, trading, living, human ships flew among them now. No longer outsiders? "We have to try," Daniel said. "That is what makes us human. We fall down and we get up. We get hurt and we heal. We face the worst that life offers and we find a way forward." Grace stood beside him watching the same view. "My brother would have liked this," she said quietly. "He always believed in second chances. Then let us make sure his belief was not wasted." They stood there for a while longer, watching the dance of ships and stars. The universe stretched out before them, full of danger and wonder and possibility. The day humanity left the Galaxy Council was the day the universe shifted. The old order cracked. Old certainties crumbled. For 5 years, the galaxy wondered what would happen next. Now they knew. Humanity had returned. Not as servants. Not as tools. Not as second-class beings to be used and discarded. They returned as equals. As partners. As the species that had saved everyone and asked for nothing in return. The other species had learned hard lessons in those 5 years. They had learned that true strength was not about weapons or technology. It was about character. About doing the right thing, even when the wrong thing was easier. About helping others, even when those others did not deserve help. Humanity had taught them that lesson. Not with words, but with actions. With sacrifice. With mercy. The universe was different now. Better, maybe? The old arrogance was dying. The old cruelty was fading. In its place, something new was growing. Something built on respect instead of fear. On cooperation instead of exploitation. It would not be perfect. Nothing ever was. There would be problems and disagreements and hard times ahead. But for the first time, in a very long time, there was hope. Daniel Carter looked out at the stars one last time. Then he turned and walked toward the future, ready to help build something worth believing in. The day humanity left the galaxy was the day the universe shifted, but the day humanity returned was the day it began to heal. And that, in the end, was the most human thing of all. Not the anger, not the revenge, not the walking away, the coming back, the forgiving. The building of something new from the broken pieces of what came before. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy. And it was a gift that would keep giving for as long as the stars burned in the endless dark. The story was not over. It was just beginning. And whatever came next, humanity would face it the same way they had faced everything else. Together, strong, ready, human.